fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your breakfast bankroll for Sunday, December 19th, 2021. Would like to start by wishing my mom a very, very happy, heavenly birthday. Please look down upon us and make our fantasy and our NFL and all our tickets good ones today. That would help us. I had an amazing day yesterday for the ECSI VIPs. Much needed 4-0 day. Really sneaky, hell of a win by UAB in football over BYU, plus the 7, plus the 215 on the money line. Came back with give me liberty or give me death. That was a box to wire. And the one that we had to sweat, which I was kind of surprised, and me and Scott will be talking about this one, and they've been real good to us, was UL Lafayette. Anyone not watching that game, 3 times inside the 10, and they settled for 2 field goals, and then they got stopped on downs, but they had a late fourth quarter surge and ended up winning by 15. And then we snuck in a hoop game, St. Louis against Auburn, and a game that we didn't have to sweat, up 60-47, and then Auburn goes on this huge run and ends up winning by 4, and we had them plus 5.5. A lot of big overnight moves, which we'll talk about. So without further ado, my co-host from the Palm Tree State himself, the one, the only, the man with the plan, Mr. Scott E. Webb. Scotty, my brother, what is happening?
Hey, it was a great Saturday, brother, and feeling good, feeling like going into today's games and trying to figure out holy shit, we need doctors on staff on our side just to figure out who's playing, who's not playing, what the hell's going on, what the impacts are going to be, and all that stuff. So,
yeah, I the NFL said they weren't going to stop. The show must go on. I remember that last year, and then I think Goodell stuck his chest out like, I told you we'd make it. This year, unfortunately, this strand is a lot more contagious and a lot more weaker. And there's no stipulations in any of the unions that says, hey, I'm vaxxed, I'm boosted, I'm asymptomatic, but I'm still testing positive, where they can go out and play. They're doing no harm to anyone. So, a couple games were moved, the Washington Philly game, the Seattle Ram game. But I want to talk about some big overnight moves, and then we'll attack the board that way. The Buffalo up to 14, even 14.5 at Pinnacle at home against Carolina with an opener of 9.5. So that's a big move there. Miami's gone from 7 to 10. It's at 10.5 at our friends at Circa here. Dallas has creeped up to 11.5 at the Giants. Again, if you want to say actual big moves, Green Bay opened up at 2. It's been 5 all week. That's gone to a 9. It is 8 at our friends at South Point. You can get it 7.5 at WinBet. Obviously, that move is telling you Lamar's not playing. Tennessee opened at 2.5. Pick at Circa, Westgate, South Point, -1 at Caesars. Arizona has crept to 13 at Detroit, at South Point, 12.5 everywhere else. San Fran staying at 8.5, 9, some 9.5s at home against Atlanta. Since he's showing an open of -3 against Denver, they didn't open up at -3, but Denver now is -3. The Rams right now are 4.5, 4. They are at 6.5 at Westgate and Circa, and your Bucks are holding on at 11. If you want to go over yesterday, your thoughts on the bowl games, I saw you just tweeted on Twitter about the guide, how the guide's doing. Just take over for a few minutes and talk about what you saw yesterday.
Well, these bowl games have been, in a lot of ways, they've been kind of fun. I mean, it's one of these scenarios where, it's hit or miss with these games. Hopefully these games are entertaining for a lot of players, a lot of people to watch. And in some ways they're meaningful to certain teams, and other teams they're not meaningful. I thought that some of these games are a showcase. That Liberty game is a showcase for their quarterback. So you saw him throw big arm. I mean, fastballs to these guys. I'm like, holy shit, these guys need catcher's mitts out there. And then he has great deep threat, and he can run. So I thought that was a good showcase for him. Obviously, he's not going to be throwing against a MAC defense in the NFL. So it'll be an interesting thing to see where he's kind of projected at. I think I saw somewhere where he was projected to be the 4th quarterback chosen out of college football. I thought it was interesting that some of these matchups and the way they're going with teams like the Pac-12 are struggling again.
That's nothing new, and it's funny because I'm in a couple bowl tournaments or whatever, and one was just for this week with the NFL games. And if you played just the Dogs, you were a hero. I mean, the first 3 games, the Dogs came running in. And it was funny, Scott, what you just talked about, that quarterback was 62 touchdowns. They were trying to compare that year to the Burrow year with 60. And so I thought that was kind of comical too.
Well, he's really good, but at the same time, he's really good. You got to one of the things that I do with the numbers and the stuff that I have, I take into account strength of schedule, and that really reflects in the outcomes of some of the scores in the games. When you have Ohio State plays LSU, there's not going to be a whole lot of difference between strength of schedule here. But when you have Western Kentucky that plays say even a team like I don't know, let's just say they play Illinois or somebody like that. Western Kentucky's strength of schedule is not very good, where Illinois is going to go still play all those teams in the Big Ten. Of course, they're going to play some of the weaker teams in the Big Ten, but they're going to play Ohio State and they're going to play some of these teams. So their strength of schedule is going to be much higher. So the quality of opponent in the college football game is way more meaningful than it is in the NFL. However, having said that, some of these games in the NFL do change a lot based on that. And one of the teams that is kind of a weird scenario in the NFL when it comes to strength of schedule is I'm going to flip my screen to that spot here for a second. Is the where is it? There it is. Is strength of schedule wise, the Cincinnati Bengals have played the 32nd toughest schedule in all football. So are they a facade of a team? Because other teams in their division, like they play, not the best of teams because, you got Pittsburgh in there and Baltimore, but, and they don't rank that high. But Cleveland, for example, has played the 21st toughest schedule. So they played tougher teams in Cleveland. So I kind of sit here and think to myself, what is going on with this Cincinnati Bengal team? Now it doesn't really matter today because they're playing Denver, and Denver's played the 29th toughest schedule. So, but when they play teams like Buffalo or somebody like that, that really gives Buffalo a pretty big advantage here because, if you don't play the quality of opposition that everybody else plays, then your data doesn't match up to what everybody else does, and it needs to be shaded. So I put that into my models and the different things. And so far in the bowl guide, I didn't get off to a good start against the spread. We were 0-3 in the first 3 games against the spread, and then went 5 straight wins. So we're 5-3 on the bowl guide. And the bowl guide has the totals plays are 6-2. So if you just follow the totals plays, you're winning 3 out of 4 bets. If you combine the two, what is that? That's 3. That's 11 wins, right, or something like that, and 5 losses. So that's pretty quality, I think. If you think about it, 11 wins and 5 losses, somewhere down the line, if you played both sides every game, you're making money. And the truth of the matter is, we didn't charge nobody to get this guide. So, I mean, holy shit, we're giving away goddamn money. I don't, start lining up, people. Let's go. Raise your hand, get the damn book, and start making some money, for God's sakes.
And the funny thing about the bowls is this is, you just sit there and you scratch your head. It just in this regards, because you can do all the data. You can go through every game. You can, as you said, strength of schedule, and have everything line up. The stars align. I do my side with the market. Here's a perfect example. As we're doing a live show yesterday, I was telling you, oh, look at this steam coming flying in on Western Kentucky. I mean, they went from +3 to -1, 1.5 in some spots. And again, in my job there is, do you trust the steam? Is it real? And usually that last half hour, 45 minutes is a real tough call. You got to feel that gut going, saying, okay, are they really trying to get you to jump on to Western Kentucky? And it's a false steam. But you knew right away, these guys were going toe to toe. And then at halftime, next thing you know, bing, bang, boom. And that game was over. But my point here is you just sit here and sometimes you just scratch your head. Players sitting out for the NFL draft. First time quarterbacks, Utah State. Now, I leaned Utah State. I had them written down. But my point is, they're head scratchers. And that's why for me, it's one unit, one game at a time. And because you could be the hero one day and the as I like to say, the dog one day and the fire hydrant the next. You were just way off. So you just take it with stride. I mean, the App State, for instance, the numbers looked that way on App State. All the data looked that way. They were nowhere to be found. But that's why the bowl games. And that's what makes them so interesting, Scotty.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the other part of it too, is that in most of the games, I don't know about every single game that we're going to have on here, but most of these games, they're going to be somewhat competitive because of the divisions and the conferences and the stuff that's there. They're not going to be some of these games that are just set up as just a terrible game to watch. Now, I don't know about today. I mean, you want to go watch Tulsa play Old Dominion? I mean, holy shit. And if you break down this game, it's one of those games that you sit there and you go, oh my God, I don't even want to do this game. But the reality is that both teams play pretty good defense and both teams have shitty offenses. So these games have all been going over the number in most cases. I would suspect that this game will not be one of those games. It's just going to be kind of, how does this game play out? I think 9.5 is kind of a big number. I'm not going to go bet on this game, but if I were going to bet this game, what the Bowl Guide tells me is Bowl Guide says 28-21 Tulsa, which is pretty close to what the number is. It's, I think, 9.5, and 52 is the total. So it says 49. So it's shading everything to the dog and the under. And that's probably what I would sit there and kind of deal with it. But, Old Dominion has played the 114th ranked schedule. I mean, the 114th ranked schedule. No wonder they're goddamn in the bowl games, because they didn't play nobody. So it's one of those, it's one of those type of things. And Tulsa has played Oklahoma State, Ohio State, and Cincinnati. They played. I mean, are you kidding me? They played 3 teams that are like in the top 10. And so I think that that's a team that's pretty battle tested. They beat SMU. So that's a team that can play. The only issue here is you got a Tulsa quarterback who has 16 touchdowns and 16 interceptions, which ain't very good. That's not very good. So that probably keeps Old Dominion in the game just by that. But anyway, that's not a very good game to bet on today, but I've been having a lot of blast with it. I had fun writing the book. And I'm pretty happy that some of the results are coming out hopefully the way they're intended. So.
Well, let's jump on over to the NFL. Like I said, there's been some big moves. I'll just say this: a lot of guys in, a lot of guys out. Go on to follow Shefty on Twitter for your fantasy. Who's in, who's out, late scratches, yada yada yada. I got the board up from our friends at Wager Talk. Anyone looking for some free live odds, one-stop shopping, go to wagertalk.com, live odds, and you can get everything here. We talked early in the show on some big movements here. It's a game. It's a day that I'm definitely going to tread lightly. Again, we'll put together our action parlay after the show. We're coming off a nice 4-0 day. We'll look to, I'm going to use this to get lucky. That's what it's all about here. I mean, COVID, who's playing, who's not playing. We haven't discussed it. We'll just quickly hit on it, and Twitter being what it is. Patriots trailing, 14-0, 17-0, whatever it was. And I saw someone put up the strength of the Patriots schedule is really showing here. And I just scratched my head. I was like, okay, they lost their home opener against Miami. Then they got steamrolled by the Saints. So I guess the Bucs game, the Dallas game is meaningless. Cleveland came in and they were playing well. They got steamrolled. The Titans came in. They were playing well, even though banged up, they got steamrolled. Oh, yeah. The Patriots go into Buffalo on a Monday night game and beat them. And yet the Patriots schedule is meaningless. And then the Pats and Mac make a fourth quarter run. And Taylor says not so fast and pops one for 67. A game where the Pats just made way too many mistakes. Mac couple picks in the red zone. It just was a sloppy game for them. It kind of showed the rust after the bye week where probably came in at a bad time and a big win, for the Colts. Kansas City now stands up top as the number 1 seed. The cream rising to the top, and this thing's shaking down. Quick thoughts on last night's game. I don't know if you caught it on the Pats and the Colts.
Well, I would tell you that New England's strength of schedule, I had it pulled up for the other reason, but it's sitting right here. They're 16th. So there's 32 teams. It's right in the middle. So that doesn't mean it's a tough schedule. It doesn't mean it's a weak schedule either. The Colts, for example, their strength of schedule is 19th. So when you start to think about who's played the toughest teams, it's Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay's played the toughest teams because they're the defending champs, and that's the way it's supposed to be. But Dallas in a shit ass division they play in has played the second toughest schedule. And then New Orleans, Kansas City, Washington, the Chargers, the 49ers, Seattle, whatever. So it kind of goes down like that. But the point of this is a lot of times you can't because of the division you play in, you can't change your strength of schedule because you play shitty teams sometimes. I can remember back when New England's were just walking over teams, but they had Buffalo who couldn't win a game. The Jets couldn't win a game. And Miami couldn't win a game. And they got to play those teams twice. So how do you stack up to try to get them to be a tough schedule when they play all those teams? Well, they try to find a way. But when it comes to that game, and you mentioned it, that, one of the things that I have a tough time with, and I haven't figured out a way to put it into a calculation, and I don't think I'm even really looking to, because some teams it's a problem and some teams it's not. When a team comes off of a break, I think that the break is good for teams that need one. And it's real bad for a team that doesn't need one. So, New England's flying, rolling through 7 straight covers, winning all these damn games. It's a time, these guys are not, I say this in baseball all the time because you're talking about pitchers, but it's the same thing here. Football teams, football players, they wake up and they don't feel good that, they're not going to be perfect every time out. They're going to make mistakes, especially a rookie quarterback. So there's going to be ups and downs with some of this stuff. And I wish I had a better way to predict when those types of things are going to happen. Because if so, you could really get a leg up on whatever's going on out in front of you. But we talked about it the other day. You're not supposed to predict when a winning team is going to lose. You can't step in front of the bus, as we say. And if you have a losing team that's continually losing, like the Detroit Lions were, they find a way to goddamn lose. So don't be betting on a team to think, oh, they're going to win today. Well, shit, they probably should have won 3 times before that, and then they lost again today because, okay, well, they find ways to lose. That's why they lose. So ride those waves. Don't try to predict when those outcomes are going to change, or just stay off the game. Look for a total, or look for a prop bet, or something like that. Whatever piques your interest a different way, but don't necessarily bet on the outcome of the game.
100%. And we talk about this till we're blue in the face about those action junkies and the fact of the matter. And you know what? I think the DraftKings, the FanDuels, the Barstools are really ruining it for long-term newbies. The in-game parlays, bet $10 to win 400 all on one game, and you see people winning them, but you don't see the 98% of them that are losing. So someone pops a 3 or 4 game in-game parlay, puts $20 on it and wins 450. Well, you didn't see the 100 people that lost their $20 in those in-game parlays. So the book netted $14.50, but we don't see that. And so to gamble responsibly, or as we like to say here, to invest responsibly, and you just push all in, and you see it on Twitter, all in on one side of a game. Oh, there's no way in hell with Lamar Jackson not playing today. That's why Green Bay is up to 9.5. So let me do everything on Green Bay. Well, Hundley could have that one day. It is in Baltimore. I'm not touting this game or telling everyone to go jump on Baltimore, but big overcorrection there. And I'm not saying Green Bay doesn't win by double digits, but not with my money. If they do, well, so be it. And I'm not backing the Ravens either. The Ravens are the more desperate team. Currently, right now, where are they? Ravens, 8-5 versus a 10-3. So when you're playing for the number 1 seed versus trying to get in the playoffs, you usually lean to the more desperate team. And I'm just picking that as an example. So,
well, I think that kind of piggybacking on what you said here, a couple of things. When you see, the advertisement of a parlay, 14 legs or whatever it is, and it hit, right? So why does a sports book put it out there? They're advertising for you to do the same thing. They want you to go do that too. They want you to put your $25 out there or $50, whatever it is, and try to hit these parlays. They don't happen, guys. I mean, there might be one that happens or 2 that happens all year on all those bets. Not and then each place, all these casinos have hundreds of thousands of players, and they walk up to the windows and they do this shit, and then okay, 1-1. So let's put it out there so we can keep these hundreds of thousands of people coming in here and making these same bets. So a lot of ways there is. I think that we need to make a definition here, purpose, and I'm getting ready to do that book for you. And I think that one of the things that we need to put in there is, what is an action junkie, right? Because an action junkie is not necessarily the guy that wants to play a game that he doesn't have a feeling for. I shouldn't say it that way. He is the guy that wants to play the game that he doesn't have a feel for, because the pros make way more bets than people think they make. They do. They make a lot of bets, because if they think they have an edge, it doesn't matter. They're betting the game. And if they end up with 7 games bet that day, well, then that's how many games they bet. And I wish I had the picture, because I had it at one time. I don't have it anymore. There was a guy, and he's a professional gambler. I can't remember what his name was. He won money on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last year because he bet the Super Bowl at the beginning when Tom Brady went there. And he got great odds, and he won $50,000 or something like that. But what he did that was really, really, really cool, he showed a picture, and he kept all the tickets from the bet window that he made. And on one stack, he has them rubber banded because he made so many bets. And they're rubber. And, a lot of these could be, they're just total bets, right? So and we look at that and go, holy shit, he's making 8 million bets. Well, keep in mind, a lot of those are futures bets. A lot of them are touchdown bets or whatever. So there's stuff like that. But he has, I don't know, it's a stack, and I'm going to get to the camera. He's got a stack. It's like this. It's rubber banded. And then he's got another little smaller stack on the right-hand side. And he's like, see, these are the loser bets. These are the winner bets. But because of the amounts of money and the different ways he plays and what he does and different things, we all know how this works. You lose more than you win on the sheer number of bets. But when you have an edge, you need to play. It doesn't matter, or let's put it this way. When you have a perceived edge, whatever you think that edge is, you need to be making that wager. And if you do that 7 times and you win 4 out of those 7 times, eventually you're going to win money. So your one stack's going to be pretty damn big, and the other stack's going to be, well, just a tick bigger. Just keep in mind, you're going to have a big stack of losing tickets, and people think that you're going to have, that's not the way it works, but it does. But an action junkie is not that guy. That guy's going to make 7 wagers. You and I don't ever put out here 7 wagers. That doesn't mean we don't make more wagers than what we put out here personally ourselves. But it does mean that when we're doing these things and we're trying to describe an action junkie, that's the guy that just says, I can't look. I don't even know who these teams are, but I can't watch it without putting something on it. So I'm going to go put something on this game. That's what an action junkie is. That's a guy that heard something at the water cooler and says, holy shit, I need to put some money in on this game. I don't know anything about it, but I don't know. I heard this guy's got a right finger that fell off, and he's going to play, and he's not going to work. So he's going to come out and then stink it up. So those are those kind of guys. So anyway, I just wanted to say that.
I just got from Don Best, NBA. Cleveland has experienced a COVID outbreak and may not have the league minimum 8 players available tonight against Atlanta. We will provide updates. A Cleveland Cavalier team that I think, don't quote me on this, but is won and covered like 16 in a row, something stupid like that. So
hey, that's been a good NBA team. They don't necessarily win a lot of games, but they're a team that covers a lot of spreads, especially on the road. They're one of the best road teams there is.
So we're already a half hour in. The people listening and watching want to know where Scotty is going today.
Well, I listed a couple of things down here, and I'm having some struggles with the numbers because, my numbers come out to a certain number, and then I'm like, holy shit, this game just has been bet up or bet down, but the numbers that are out there are pretty sharp, to be honest. One of the games that you had already mentioned that I'm already on, and I like Baltimore today. I like Baltimore plus the points, so I played it. I think I played it when it was at 9. What did you say it was? 9.5 now?
9 at Circa, 9.5 at Westgate, 8 at South Point, 7.5 at WinBet, 9.5 at Pinnacle. So, you can window shop this one to death.
Yeah, I got 9 on this game, and when I so playoff implication games are important, right? So for Baltimore, they are still the division leader in the Central. They're 1 game ahead of the Cleveland Browns, and if you know anything about what's going on there, they moved their game, and this guy's sick or that guy's sick or whatever, and then they got to go play. I think Las Vegas I think it's Monday afternoon now. But if you just go by the favorite's going to win, then Cleveland should win that game. And it's in Cleveland. Now, having said that, That then means if Baltimore wants to still be the division lead after this weekend, they need to win today. And I get it, Green Bay and all this stuff, and Aaron Rodgers, and I get all that stuff, and I get how good they are on offense and all that stuff. But they don't really have a whole lot to play for. They're playing for the number 1 seed, which is a big deal. But at the same time that they're playing for that number 1 seed, there is no competition for them to lose their division, so that they're in. And this is a game where I think that Baltimore absolutely is almost mandatory that they win, because if they lose this game and then they lose a couple more, they might be out of the damn playoff picture altogether. So this is a sort of a must-win type game or at least getting close to that for Baltimore. My numbers indicate that in looking at this game, Green Bay is 10th running, and Baltimore is 9th at defending the run. And of course, Green Bay should be able to throw all over them. But on the other side, Baltimore is the team that moves the ball through the ground, and they are 7th at rushing. And then they're going to face the Green Bay Packers, who have been playing pretty good on defense, but they're 19th against the run. So that at least is a path and an avenue for success for what Baltimore can do. And then, Green Bay's defense on passing isn't the best. They're 12th, but I don't think Baltimore's going to scare anybody with their passing game. So if Baltimore has a good game plan today and they can run the ball, keep the ball away from Aaron Rodgers a little bit, I think you can see a team that can cover 9.5 points in the NFL here. Plus, you can never count out a team that's got a kicker that can make the kick from 80 yards.
Tucker has been my binky in fantasy forever, ever, ever. Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, and I made one other play, and I think this is partly somehow when you get games like today, this is sort of what you got to try to figure out. I did a 6-point teaser today. I did the Giants plus 17.5 because I got them at 11.5. The Giants plus 17.5, and I paired that with the San Francisco 49ers minus 2.5. That's a 6-point teaser. It's minus 130. That's what I played.
Yeah, what game just sticks out to me, and I'm just trying to wrap my head around this damn thing. And listen, they came out of guns a-blazing, and they're just struggling. So before we close, I'm going to have you see if you can pull up the numbers. It's Cincinnati plus 3. And again, I'm going to dig a little deeper here. Let's see what I got here. Plus 145 on the money line. Team totals. They're telling you that Joe and company aren't going to get to 21. The numbers are saying 24-21 Denver. What do your numbers say?
My numbers, so I do this 2 ways, right? So the first thing is my number gives me a projection, and then I use the EPA and some other stuff as an influence to come up with the final score. So the base number was 26-24 Cincinnati. And then after the application of what I call the influence on the game, I don't have a winner. It's 23-23. And where the issue lies with this Cincinnati team, over and again, this is from week 7 or week 8. They are 20th rushing the football, 15th throwing the football, and Denver is 24th at stopping the run and 13th at stopping the pass. So that's an average team against an average team. It's not really strength on strength. It's not really weakness on weakness. It should be an average number for Denver, for Cincinnati and Denver. But when Denver's got the ball, they can run the football. They're 8th rushing, and the defense for Cincinnati is 21st at stopping the run. And then Denver's 12th at passing, and Cincinnati's defense is 10th. So I think that Denver should be able to run the ball a little bit. So when I look at this, that sort of makes an adjustment, and it looks to me, and I've got it 23-23, which in turn then says you take the underdog because they're a live dog. They're a team that can win this game outright because there's no path of success for Denver to go win this game. So I like the idea of what you were looking at if you like Cincinnati. But if you like that side, I like Joe Burrow. But that damn Denver team is one of these weird ass teams because Teddy Bridgewater is not playing bad football, and their defense is actually really good at scoring defense. And I look at scoring as points per play, not necessarily just total overall points, but they're a top 5, top 6 defense when it comes to that. Cincinnati was at the beginning of the season one of those teams that was playing stellar defense, and because they had good offense, they were beating the shit out of teams. Now their defense is a little bit more exposed. The offense is still playing well, but their defense isn't quite as good as what it was at the beginning of the season. So when it looks a game like this for me, I think that it's worthy of a play. I don't think it's worthy of, going out and saying, hey, and being one of the ones that you say, oh, I feel pretty confident on. Like when we do the show, there's a lot of stuff that I can think of that I'll play like this. I would play this game, but I wouldn't necessarily come across here and go, this is a recommended play by me. I'm just playing it because I think it's the right play. And I think that you're seeing it this may be the same. I don't know. What do the betting numbers tell you?
The numbers, they're on, the numbers are on Cincinnati. Let me refresh this here for us, see if I can get the numbers up for everyone.
You know what would be interesting? I'm looking at pregame, and I'll bet you our numbers are going to be way different today based off of, pregame only having 4 or 5 casinos and your guys having a bunch. But pregame's telling me that 72% of the money's on the Cincinnati Bengals. And that's a lot, and especially for a line not moving a whole lot or moving the other way.
Yeah, and I'm telling you right now, it's kind of, when you look strictly at the numbers, you'd come right out and say the sharper side is the sharper side today is the Denver side. And I'm not knocking it. I'm not saying it's not. It's such a bad board today. And I just, the numbers here, 72% of the tickets, 63% of the money. Yet again, they're showing you since he opened -3, they did not. They opened -3. It's the same model. I'll tell you what, it's the same model as the Patriots and Colts last night. They showed the Pats opened at 2.5. They didn't. I told everyone it was a pick 'em. By the time everyone saw it, it was Colts -1. It got pushed to 2.5. It got bought back down to 1.5 at kickoff. This is the same exact model. And the Cincinnati team killed our parlay last week. We needed them to win outright for a 6-1, and they got the ball in overtime, and they settled for the field goal, and then Jimmy G and company came down and got the touchdown. So it's a board that I would tread real lightly, looking for some value. Again,
well, here's the good thing that I like about pregame. I just clicked on the line, right? So it breaks it down where you can look at the percentage of wagers based on what the line was at the time. So when this game was Cincinnati plus 2.5, they weren't getting the majority of the bets. That wasn't happening. And now that they are +3, they're getting 75% of the action. That's where the money's coming when they moved it to 3. So what does that tell you? I think that tells me that they wanted action on them. Wanted action on the Bengals. So in just my not as precise market analysis is what you can do, but it tells me that Denver's the right side here.
100% agree. And again, reading the market, I'll compare this one again to the Colts last night with the Pats. I said this is you can tell right away which side the book is making a stand on. So again, you open it up at as in here, for instance, Denver -2. Well, it got to 2.5, As soon as it gets to 3, that's a key number. Everyone's going to be bouncing on Cincinnati. On paper, again, they look like the play, but they're not playing well. They're just Burrow is not firing on all cylinders. Mixon's had some games, but this Denver team, as you talked about, Teddy Bridgewater, he's a game manager. He just finds ways to win. It's at home. And if I told you this before the season started, they're 7-6. Both teams are 7-6. And the winner's still in. The loser, they're in trouble. And I'll call it the Sunday COVID board. There's not a lot out there. I mean, you got a Buffalo team now, 14, a Dallas team, 11.5, Green Bay, 9. I like Jacksonville to win today. I like the fact that the cancer and the poison is gone. I like them to say, watch us. This guy was the one holding us back. And don't forget, Jacksonville was 2-point favorites at Houston opening day, and they got land-based. So I like Jacksonville to win today. I can't play. I think it's a great get-well spot for Arizona at Detroit. I think San Fran wins, but Atlanta, here's another team, quietly 6-7 and playing good ball on the road. Then here comes the Cincinnati-Denver game. And your team, the Bucks at 11.5. This New Orleans team, I have no temperature. They're 6-7 going the wrong way. Are the Bucks going to win? Yeah, they are. Are they going to cover the 11 points? Well, they've been damn good at home. But the total's 45. I mean, so do basic math. Can New Orleans get to 17 or better? I don't think they can. So they got them pegged around that 13-14 number range. Just overall, not a good board. That's
I agree with that. And that's why I didn't play a whole lot. I mean, what I do, I gave out 2 plays today. I mean, I gave out Baltimore plus the 9, and I gave out a teaser. And I don't mind the teaser bets, but I'm feeling like I got pretty good value on the teasers bet. I mean, shit, it takes 3 touchdowns basically to beat me in the New York Giants game, and if they lose by 3 touchdowns to a division rival, okay, well, they do. And then I took that San Francisco number that was 8, what was it? 8.5 or whatever it was, and I got them at 2.5. So they just got to win by field goal. So I'm okay with both of those plays, and if I lose, I lose with them. I'm off of a pretty good game yesterday, so if I lose, I didn't go out there and waste all my money, and I didn't go out there and play crazy plays. I didn't, and it's just like we were talking about with that Denver game. It doesn't bother me to make a wager on one side of those or the other. And then reading what the market is, if you feel good about that play, then play the Denver Broncos. That's the right side. And then watch, they'll get lambasted by 14 or something stupid. But that's the whole point of why you do this stuff. You try to figure out where they are. Here's one game I can't figure out. I can't figure out the Tennessee Titans Pittsburgh Steelers today because, for God's sakes, I can't see the Pittsburgh Steelers being favored over anybody, and let alone being favored over a team like Tennessee. I think Tennessee is a great money line play and should win this game outright.
And I'll stop you right there because, again, you talk about reading the board, okay? I thought initially it was a statement by Vegas, okay? Tennessee opened -2. Mm-hmm. And why did they open -2? Because they wanted Steeler money. Well, they've gotten the Steeler money. They did exactly what they wanted to do. Hey, I can get the Steelers +2 at home, a must win at 6-1, and that's gone down now to the Steelers -1. And they did exactly. So that was Vegas making a statement. We're going to back the Titans here today. You can grab your +2, +1.5, +1, +0.5, whatever. But we're backing the Titans here to win by 3 or more.
I like the Titans. I can't, my numbers like the Titans by a lot. So I sit here and go, when that happens, Jeff, usually I throw that game out because something's wrong with it. Something not right. So my number says 27-17 Tennessee today. And I'm sitting here and I'm going, how in the hell is it 27-17? And this number that doesn't make sense. So the more I looked into it, I'm like, you know what? I'm just something might be wrong with what I'm doing with the numbers today, and so I'm just not going to play it. But I think that's one of the strongest plays on the whole entire board today.
No, I agree. I agree. College of Charlestown and Rhodey has been now canceled due to COVID. I was scrolling down. I think there's like 6 or 7 hockey games that were canceled. Hold on one second. I mean, it's a mess right now. There's nothing that you can say other than that. Nashville, Carolina, Boston, Ottawa. Boston's been shut down through Christmas. Toronto, Seattle, Arizona, Vancouver, all been postponed. It's a day, guys, here to survive in advance. It's just another day. And I know NFL's going on. There's some college hoop going on. There's a lot of stuff going on. Just pick and choose. Enjoy the day as it's the 19th. It's 6 days till Christmas. It's the last day of the week. Whether you're up a couple units, down a couple units, don't push the envelope. We got a lot of bowl games coming up next week. And myself and Scott will be on here Monday and Tuesday breaking everything down. If you need us, find us on Twitter. Myself at EC Sports Invest, with Scotty at Webby20MLB. If you got 5 seconds, guys, that's all we ask, 5 seconds. Jump on over to YouTube at East Coast Sports Investors. Subscribe. It's free. Write a review if you have 10 seconds. Same with Twitch, East Coast Sports Investors. Come find us. We're here to educate, not entertain. And we'll hope to see you next week, the week after, 2022 and beyond. So if you're wagering today, always remember this. Wager with your head, not your heart. If you have a problem, pick up that phone. There's an 800 number there. Ask for help. Why? Because we care. Have a blessed day. Cash some tickets. And myself and Scott will see you next week.